Hello YouTubers, today we're going to be replacing the valve cover gasket on our 99 Kia Sportage. I'm not going to go over how to remove the intake and all the other things over this because it's been covered in other videos and it's pretty straightforward. You would just put everything back on the way that it came off. So we're going to go straight to the part of putting the gasket on. One thing I would recommend when you're removing the valve cover is that you make sure you get all 15 bolts off that hold it down, because this one right here in the front is easy to forget about, and if you don't get all 15 of them off there, it's going to make it hard to prise off. Once you get it off, this is what it's going to look like. This will be the second time I've replaced this gasket since I started driving the vehicle about 18 years ago. After a while they just wear out and you start getting oil in the spark plug tubes, which causes, just makes it messy when you get ready to change your spark plugs and things. This is the plastic tool that I use to prise the valve cover off, because they do get kind of stuck on there after a couple of years. I also laid out my ignition modules in the order that they came out, just to make sure I get all that back in right. So we'll dive right into it here, and hopefully this will help somebody out that's doing the same thing. Okay, we got our old gasket off. It had been on there for a while, so it was stuck pretty good. And I just used these channel lock pliers with the rubber guards on, so I didn't scar up my aluminum part, and just grabbed it at one of the longer areas here. And once you get one part of it broke loose, the rest of it comes right up with it in one piece. So you can see there's like an indentation crease that the gasket fits into. And here in a minute we're going to be installing our new Felpro gasket. This channel that the gasket's going to fit in is a little oily, so I'm just going to hit it with some brake cleaner and Q-tips to make sure we get a good seal with our gasket. Okay, so this looks a lot better now. Turned out that a Q-tip was a little too wide to fit down in the groove, so I just used a paper towel wrapped around a flathead screwdriver. And while I was in there, I decided to take this panel off and just see what was behind it. I can't really tell exactly what its purpose is. This the hose right here. Oops, sorry. This is not a valve or anything like that. It's just a pass-through. There's a little hole right there you probably can't see. And then apparently each one of these baffles right here, made up with the ones that are inside here, and then there looks like to be just like a groove running along here that I guess lets a certain amount of air through, and it eventually winds up coming out about right here, like a crankcase ventilation or something. So since I got it off anyway, I'm going to go ahead and blow that out with the parts cleaner also. I went ahead and took this other plate off while I was in here. Where you see that little white plastic piece coming through there is where the PCV valve would usually rest. And things are pretty gummed up in there. Probably not enough to really prevent any airflow or anything like that, but I'm going to go ahead and clean it up anyway. This vehicle has 168,000 miles on it, so I'm going to get that done and then we'll start putting the gasket on. So here's our gasket ready to put on, and one thing you'll notice about it, this gasket, is that there is a flat side and a more rounded side. I wasn't able to find any information on which side is supposed to go up or down on this. Sometimes gaskets will actually say, they'll have an arrow, or they'll say this side up or something like that. I couldn't find anything that said specifically how this was to go on, but I did notice that the rounded side fits very nicely into the indention there, so that's the way we're going to put it on. I also bought some gasket dressing, but I don't think I'm going to use it because I think it might just be something that I'll have to clean off later, you know, if I have to redo it again. So I'm going to see how this works without it. If it leaks, then, you know, we'll use it next time. Alright, so here's our gasket all installed down into the little crease there. I did decide to go ahead and use a little gasket dressing just on this one little area right here. I just thought I would see if the other two leak and that one doesn't, then I'll know it works. And if it ends up being a big pain to clean off, then I'll know that also. Traditionally on this model, people like to put little globs of silicone on each sides of those, the cam keepers there, whatever you call this part at the end here. So I went ahead and did it also. And I poured a little bit of oil on each of the cam lobes, so that when I do the first startup here in a minute, you know, it'll be nice and lubricated and everything. So we've got the valve cover back on, and it's simply just grabbing it by those two holes in the center and setting it down on there with one hand. You want to look around and make sure your gasket didn't come dislodged as you're putting it down. Make sure it's not puking out anywhere. And you want to make sure you get your torque settings right. It's very important that you don't get it too tight or too loose, of course. But if you get it too tight, you're going to push the gasket out and could also make it leak. So you want to make sure you get that right. The service manual says between 35 and 52 inch-pounds. I torqued it at 4 foot-pounds, which would be 48 inch-pounds, so just kind of right in the middle of all that. Also, before putting it back on, I did also put a little bit of oil on the camshaft lobes so that they'll be nice and lubricated when I start it up here in a minute. But that's pretty much all there is to it. I'm going to get everything put back on it, but like I said earlier, that's mainly just put it back like you found it. So I hope everybody enjoyed this, and I thank you for watching it, and I hope it was some help to you.